This is where the fun begins. Welcome everyone to the 2019 Mazda MX-5. Today we've got the soft top model with us. Now this one is what I see as the more true nature of the MX-5. Lightness, simplicity, and no extra frills. So with the fabric roof that we have here, optioned in the $700 dark cherry color, it is as simple as throwing it up and down really whenever you want. If you were driving along and you wanted to lift it up, I'm sure the air is going to get caught in it, making it difficult to close down. But really, why would you be doing that at 50, 60 kilometers an hour? If you do that, you're mad. So for the 2019 model year, there were some significant improvements with the MX-5. For one, we've got more power. We're now looking at 181 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque. That's 26 horsepower more and 3 pound-feet of torque more than the 2018 model. The way that Mazda has brought in a little extra power is by doing a few bits and pieces with this 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. The intake and the exhaust valves are larger, the crankshaft is lighter, and the throttle body is bigger as well. Not only does that result in more power, but a higher redline. We're now looking at a redline of 7,300 RPM. We also get a very important feature for someone tall like me, a telescoping steering wheel. Now this is something that if you're not tall, you wouldn't really care for, but I remember driving that 2017 RF and having my arms extended like this, which is not the optimal way to drive. This, I can now get my perfect driving position, and although the seat is as far back as it can, I am tight in here, I am 6'4". The way that my foot rests right of the base of the accelerometer is perfection. There isn't too much space on the dead pedal. I would like a little bit more, but I know this is a car that wasn't optimized for people my height. But I'll tell you, at no point have I thought to myself, yeah, I'm not gonna have fun and not enjoy myself, so I won't get into this car. If you're going on a very long highway cruise, then yes, that's probably when things might get a bit constrictive. At that point, I am throwing up the soft top just because I don't want the cold wind frostbiting my ears. But even when you do throw that convertible top up, it is quite noisy. The RF is certainly better at containing all of that high-speed wind noise. And for the 2019 model year, you're actually getting a reversing camera, which wasn't actually available previously with the MX-5. But this is one of the first times where you get into a car and you think, wow, this car really doesn't need a rear view camera, because the rear view visibility, of course, when the roof is down, is brilliant, and it feels like you can look right down onto the rear bumper of this car. Now I know that the reason why we are getting it here is that for 2019 in Canada, it is becoming standard regulation that all cars come with a rear view camera. But the car we are in is the GT, so we are in the top trim model, but it isn't the one I choose. There was a little bit of restructuring for the Canadian trim levels. The GX is gone, so now what we have is the GS, the GSP, and the GT. The GSP is the one I'd have because that's the performance-oriented version. It's the one with the Recaro seats and the black BBS wheels, which I think are the best wheels that you can get with this car. It's exactly how I had the RF last year. Now these seats in the GT, perfectly comfortable. I like how you can lift the base up to support your legs. And of course they have the speakers in the headrest. So when you are driving along, you can listen to music and it sounds like a surround sound system. But if someone ever calls you, it sounds like they're talking behind you. These seats are heated. We've got an automatic climate control system, the Mazda Connect infotainment system, which you see in all of their other products. got a little bit of safety tech, so we've got the automatic lights, the lane keep assist. With the GT as well, you also get the easy access system, so that is what's giving you these little buttons on the door handles. We've got the screen to the left of the tachometer that will show off a little bit of information regarding your trip, your fuel consumption, that kind of thing. But we also have the sign detection as well as speed warning detection. Now let's get into the things that really matter with the MX-5. How it drives. Now I loved that MX-5 RF. That changed everything for me. You read so many good reviews of the MX-5, and of course the great journalists out there, they're applying a little bit of hyperbole. And you see that kind of exaggeration, you think, oh, okay, it is just people perhaps trying to say too much about a car, trying to justify it too much. That's what I thought when I first got into that MX-5 RF last year. But I was very quickly proven, no, the hyperbole isn't a hyperbole. This car is just fantastic. Adding a little more horsepower, having a little more thrust into the back of your seat, that's always well and good, but I don't think it's altered the characteristic of the MX-5 at all. I couldn't tell you a big difference between the 155 horsepower of the old engine and the 181 of this one. What you do notice though is whenever you're lifting off of the throttle in a gear, you get this bassy fart every time that you lift off. That I definitely don't remember from the previous car. Just the way that I feel the car pivoting around my hips. You know the exact second where you put perhaps a little too much throttle in a corner and the back end's going. You know exactly when you might have overcooked entry into a fast corner. The clutch is light and it's progressive. The gear knob, it vibrates and rattles around in its leather boot housing. Seeing how impregnated it is to the chassis of the car. And every time that you take your hand and throw it into a gear, it feels like it's just meant to be there. It locks into place and there's really no way you can screw up shifts in this car. With the manual, you will get the limited slip differential, a crucial factor in the car lover's manual of having fun. When it comes to the ride in this car, although it might be a little firm, it is a sports car at the end of the day, it's in no way punishing. After an hour's drive, I'm more tired of the wind noise rather than the comfort. So what you are looking at here is still one of the greatest driving experiences you can get for any money. And it is so refreshing to get into a small car. Here's a comparison between what people may consider a normal sized convertible then versus this MX-5. The MX-5 is all about fun. And I've had so much fun this week just doing the regular things, driving to the office, picking up groceries. It's a wonderful thing. There aren't any changes with the exterior looks at all. Something that the RF does really well, that this one is kind of missing out on, is that the buttresses on the RF really extend that curve down to the wheel arch. The car still has those nice wide hips, but it's more dramatic in the RF. It starts at a taller point and your eyes have more of a journey following that line down from the top of the buttress down to the top of the wheel. Of course, with the rear view camera, it is implemented in kind of an ugly spot. The rear end of the car wasn't the thing that I liked most about its exterior design. So in my mind, it's made it look even worse. It is unfortunate that the engineers couldn't figure out a way to kind of place the camera in the space where they put those lights for the license plate. That seems like the most appropriate place to put it. You also have a button down there to open up your incredibly tiny boot, which is where you will put your owner's guide and other car information in there, because this car doesn't have a glove box. Now that moves us quite swiftly into the cabin. As you don't have a glove box, you have this center console right behind your elbows here, and then if you fold down each seat, you also have a little more hidden storage behind each one. These cup holders have been redesigned slightly so they don't wiggle around as much, but still I wouldn't trust putting in an open cup of coffee into them. That just seems like a accident waiting to happen. So in this cabin, it's all the black leathers and plastic and red stitching, but in some places it doesn't look red. It does look more purplish pink, which I like. And I remember saying the exact same thing about the RF as well. We have the fake carbon fiber inserts on the doors here. I've never really liked that in any car. Where you rest your elbows are nicely padded, but directly beside here is hard plastics. Actually, I might as well show you. So it's just one hit here, you fold over, and it's up like that. Easy. Takes a second, and then you just simply throw it back down if you want to. Give it a good slap, and then it's back in play. So now I have to answer the question, should you go out and buy this 2019 MX-5? Well, it all really depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to someone that is an ND MX-5 owner already, you have to weigh in what it is you're looking for. Are you looking for an MX-5 that has that headline figure of 181 horsepower, and you really, really want that? Then go ahead, buy this car. It is going to serve you just as well as the one it did before. But that's kind of essentially the problem, is that I can't really tell you a distinctive difference between the old one and this new one. I would really have to drive them back to back to feel that difference. But of recollection, it feels just as fast, it drives just as well, and it might give off a couple of flirty noises every time you lift off. And then yes, you are getting a few other upgrades, like the telescoping steering wheel. That is a big thing for tall people like me. But beyond that, are you getting much else? You're still getting one of the best sports car experiences that money can buy. No question about that. So if you are looking to buy a brand new 2019 MX-5, it's a segment leader. But if you are someone that does currently own an MD MX-5, I'd say hold on to your one. If you're in love with it, you're going to remain in love with it. This car isn't going to rob your heart, but my God, it is still such a good car.